Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKakwadash. And I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there, Yakim Nakwath, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. And this one's going to be titled something along the lines of, this ministry or this truth is not a fashion show. Okay? This truth is not a fashion show. This ministry is not a fashion show. And it's going to be like a little shorter one, yeah. So I was kind of just thinking about what to make a lesson on. I've been dealing with this thing in my throat, so I just wanted to do a little shorter one. I wouldn't feel comfortable not doing one. But, just put a little lesson out, watch, and for me, just watch a couple, extra lessons, right? But I was, thinking about what could I do a lesson on, and, the idea, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai came on to me to go on Instagram and type in Israelite and see what was going on. And what I did, I noticed an overwhelming majority of women, right, and flashy women at that, right, and another thing, the lesson, another title is, this truth is not a costume contest, all right, this truth is not a fashion show, it's not a fashion, there's so many different titles, so many different lessons, something along those lines, but it's not a costume party. It's not a get up and dress up together, all right? That's not what being an Israelite is. Being an Israelite's deeper than perceived looks, all right? You don't have to look like an Israelite to be an Israelite. You have to act like an Israelite to be an Israelite, all right? And that's aside from, of course, the first thing being bloodline. Your bloodline has to be from an Israelite lineage, okay? But in order to be an Israelite, now you are an Israelite, but you got to be an Israelite. Okay, not just looking like an Israelite, not just knowing you're an Israelite, because a lot of people say, I'm an Israelite, all right, and yeah, using this because you got the whole gang sign throwing out. I still gang bang, all right, I still gang bang. I mean, look at Alazar saying, I'm still the same ninja, right? He didn't say ninja, but say, I'm still the same ninja that I've always been. Well, that's not good. What are you talking about? And I think that guy claims to be banging still, and I don't know who he claims to be banging with. But, he claims some type of gang affiliation, right? And so that's not something you should aspire to be. Gang banging ass Israelite. Because, I know I'm an Israelite, though. It don't really matter if you just know you're an Israelite. You can know you're an Israelite and be the wickedest motherfucker ever, right? You can know you're an Israelite and be smoking weed, snorting cocaine, and committing adultery, right? And know you're an Israelite. I mean, Kanye knows he's an Israelite. Colin Kaepernick knows he's an Israelite. I believe he knows. Colin Kaepernick, he's on that level at least. Who's that one guy? Kyrie Irving knows he's an Israelite, all right? There's a lot of people that know they're Israelites. I mean, Ice Cube knows he's an Israelite, right? But, okay, you're an Israelite. Cool. What are you going to do with it? You're just going to keep that in a bag and, tote it around. I'm an Israelite. Cool. Why aren't you acting like an Israelite? Right. Well, I look like it don't even matter if you look like an Israelite. A couple years ago, there was the whole instance with that guy that was putting fringes on his car. Literally put fringes on his car and put fringes on his dog. All right. Put fringes on his car and fringes on his dog. I'm going to try to find it if I can. I have a horrible memory. And I don't want to exit out of this right now because it'll refresh. But the first one I want to show, this one came up from Covered Girls Mag. It says Nonia Shiloh says, we'll be expecting another baby boy on July 12th. All praise to the highest. And you can go on to see it says post a scripture, and then you see Hebrew Israelites, Hebrew women covered. What's that up? What's that with? I'm gonna look that up too. But you can see this. This is nothing more than a fashion pageant, right? At the end of the day, we weren't commanded that we have to dress like that all the time, right? It's good. You got the border blue, right? But the man, oh yeah, he does have it. It's just in the back. These aren't even proper biblical garments. Okay, if you really want to get down into it, But I don't know if it was showing. It said cannot show reels full screen. Hopefully it still works. But yeah, you can see it. You can see it right here, just for a split second at least. But yeah, man, it's a fashion show. Hebrew women covered. You know, and then you got stuff like this.
Can you make me some ice water?
Yes, sir.
All right, with some lemon in it?
Yes.
And a little mint.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm an Israelite woman. Of course I submit to my Lord.
I'm an Israelite woman. Of course I keep the Sabbath.
I'm an Israelite woman. Of course I love to see my sisters. Shalom, sis.
Shalom. I'm an Israelite woman. Of course I dress modestly.
And I'm not going to put anything on these women. I will put it on them that they are following a bugged out, wicked version, or a bastardized version of the truth. All right? And bastardized really means messed with and tampered with. Because, look, Bishop Nate, he ain't got it, man. All right? As much as we'd like to see him wake up, it's not looking so great for him. All right? He's got several pride demons on him. His humility is going to ultimately be the end of him, all right, if he doesn't repent, all right? Which, you know, being how proud that guy is, you know, at this point, Edomites are looking at him and going, damn, this guy's really proud. You know, but, and it's just one of those things where, it's really, anyway, what I was saying is that I'm not going to necessarily put it on those women, but a lot of those type of women like that, they're actually the worst fucking human beings that you'll meet. All right, the Hebrew Israelite women with their head covered and all wrapped up tight and being like, I'm an Israelite, right? A lot of those women are the most demonic motherfuckers out there, all right? And you say, well, why are you saying that? I'm not saying all women in this truth. There are women that are sincerely in this truth, and may Yahweh Shem Yahushai bless them. But there's a lot of women out there that are just doing it for, you know, attention. Women love attention. They want to, you know, dress differently and look differently so they can get attention. And, you know, any sincere woman in the truth wouldn't want to be in a video like this, okay? You know, being all paraded around like that, you know. And I mean, there might be videos that women make, all right, that are not lesson content, of course, because you can't teach or preach, but it can be things, you know, instructing the women, you know, different ways for, you know, herbs or healing, or things for the men, or you know, taking duties or things with hair, you know, things like that. But, you know, ultimately that's to help, not to, you know, big yourself up, you know. And that's just one of those things where a lot of women, they just want to be seen, all right? They just want to be seen. They want to be heard, and that's why they do these things. And it seems a lot of this is coming out of IUIC. You know, it just seems like, you know, just a lot of ridiculousness. A lot of adornment and gold and trying to make themselves look, you know, ultra Hebrew.
Someone said to me that Passover is only for the Jewish people, and that as an Israelite, that I am cosplaying and appropriating something that does not belong to me. But the Bible says differently. A lot of people today assume that the people in that land, Israel, calling themselves Jewish, are the true descendants of Israel. But Christ...
Yeah, you just got a lot of this shit. That's just a lot of, I mean, even when you get into, like, the men, all right, there's times where the men can go a little overboard. This is an example of men going a little bit overboard. I mean, you can see their fits. This shit damn near looks like AI, but if you know how ISUPK works, it's from their channel. But that's too much, all right? All black and shit, and just, you know, it's too much. It's too much. Here's another one. And you can keep on going. You can keep on looking it up. You just see it's a lot of women. All right, here's another one. Why do you need to be showing yourself off?
Daydream. I fell asleep.
For what? Why are we doing this? For what? Here's an example of men doing that. This is when men do it a little bit overboard. Alright? And, yeah, man. So it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. This truth is not a pageant. All right, it's not a fashion show. All right, I want to go see, because there's a hashtag in here. It said hashtag Hebrew women covered. I mean, this is just ridiculous. You know, this is just ridiculous. Let's go and see another one. Let's go, Daughter of Zion. And then you got this weird freaky shit up in the top right. Alright, you just got a lot of weird shit going on, man. A lot of weird shit going on. And I don't know why, you know, anybody want to be associated with it. Right? Like, stuff like this, man. It's nothing but flamboyant, and flamboyant by being, let's go actually define the word flamboyant. It's out there, you know, very eye-catchy, right? Flamboyant. It says flamboyant of a person or their behavior tending to attract attention because of their exuberance, confidence, and stylishness. Okay? And that's really what's going on. They're just being flamboyant. All right? And I don't mean, not flamboyant isn't homosexual. I'm not calling them that. But flamboyant is, you know, they want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be looked upon. They want people to go, ooh, ah, that's what they want. And this truth is not for that, right? And, of course, I want to get 1 Samuel 16:7, which, of course, we get a lot, especially dealing with tares or speckled birds, but it can also be used in this regard that, look, the Lord isn't going to save you because you happen to have, you know, 10 Swarovski crystals on your garment, and meanwhile, this other brother over here just, you know, wore a sackcloth. Mind you, the real garments were sackcloth, or they could be made of other things as well, but primary sackcloth. Sackcloth is scratchy, and it doesn't look all that great, all right? That's originally, all right, what the garments were made out of was sackcloth, okay? So, how many people you see out there wearing sackcloth? I'm not saying you gotta wear sackcloth. A lot of the brothers don't wear sackcloth. They wear cotton, all right, which is allowed as well. Or you might see 100% linen, right? But yeah, man, it's just one of those things that's like, it's not, they're not dressing up to, what's the word, satisfy the oogling of people in the truth. And look how Hebrew Israelites they are. You can really look at them. All right, and the Lord's not, like I said, he's not going to look at someone that's wearing sackcloth and look at the guy with Swarovski and go, oh, you should have dressed up a little bit more. No, that's not what it's really dealing with. All right, that's not what the Lord's dealing with. Now, you shouldn't look like a bum, all right, going out there with a ripped shoe with your toe hanging out. You shouldn't be doing that. Or go on a video and your hair's all fucking dirty and you can see dandruff falling out of it. No, you shouldn't really have that either. But there's a level. You don't need to have every time before I do a lesson, I just do a quick haircut, just a quick little haircut. I don't be edging it up. I use a guard, but I do fade it out with a guard just to stay fresh. I'm like that's too much, man. That's too much. So 1 Samuel 16:7, it says, "But the Lord said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart." The Lord's looking on the heart. He's looking to see how you're actually acting. All right, and again, I'm not going to condemn any of those people necessarily, because I don't really know. They might just be misled. They might repent. Who knows? They have different things that might happen. So I'm not just going to condemn them and say that they're wicked in general, but it's giving the appearance of someone who's more focused on looks than doctrine, than dealing with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Okay? Because really, a woman's not supposed to be showing her face all over the internet like that. All right? Just. I mean, if you have a small channel, like I said, where you're teaching the woman, that's one thing. But just going on Instagram and fashion shows and doing pageants, all right? You don't need all that. You don't need all that, all right? If you have a business or one thing, that's fine. But a lot of these women are just going because they just want to be seen. All right, they just want to be seen. They want to go up there. They want to have their face out there. They want to have the other women, or even perhaps even the men. Oh, you're so pretty. You're gorgeous. You're stunning. Look at you. That's what they want, man. That's what they want, and now's not the time nor the place for that, and it's damn sure not to be muddled in and mixed up with the truth. If you're going to do a pageant, you do that on your own, but that's really vanity. That's really hubris and vain. It's really not something you should be doing, but if you were going to do it, don't associate it with the truth. All right? There's no reason to associate with that with the truth. This truth isn't about your looks. It's about who you are, how you are, if you're upholding the law and history. That's what this truth is about, not some fucking pageant show. Romans 2:29, it says, but he, well, I actually got to go and get up 28. It says, Romans 2:28, it says, for he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision, which is outward in the flesh. So it doesn't matter if I look like a Jew. I look like a Jew. You can look like a Jew and not be one, right? So, you could have, Edomites that dress up and try to mock the Israelites. Doesn't make them a Jew, right? They wish they were, but they're not. Romans 2:29, it says, but he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart. So you're changed a person, all right? You've been circumcised of the heart. Now, circumcision is when you get the foreskin removed from your penis, all right? And it's even talking about that. That's something that you should get done as a man if you haven't got done. But the true circumcision is not necessarily that, but it's the circumcision is that of the heart, because there's people out there, most men in America are circumcised as opposed to Europe, all right? I don't know where that tradition really came from, but circumcision is very common in America. It's not in Europe, okay? It's not in Europe. So, I don't know how that. I'd have to look into that, how it really spread here. But most men are circumcised here, and they're not circumcised of the heart, though. All right, they got the foreskin removed from around their rod, but they don't have the true. There's Edomite men out there that are circumcised. Okay, there's Indian men that are circumcised. There's all sorts of men out there that are circumcised, but they're not circumcised of the heart. That's the, like it says, and circumcision is that of the heart in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of Yahweh. So, again, it's not about appearance. Again, it is something that you should get done as a man, because you need that, all right? You need that for certain religious attendances. You have to be circumcised, and it's also just a good thing to get done because you're supposed to have it done. But, there's a lot of people out there that still have that skin removed from their rod. Are they circumcised? No, because it's the inward circumcision, not just the outward one. Okay, we have to change a lot about us inside, not just on the outside. All right, if we looked like a gangbanger, yeah, we shouldn't be dressing like that anymore. But we don't stop at that. We gotta, we can't put on the garment and still be a gangbanger on the inside, right? No, you have to be one outwardly and inwardly. Okay, you have to be completely changed. Okay. It's the same thing. You can't be an Israelite on the inside and then fucking dress like you're Tupac, all right? And you can't be someone who looks like a brother and inwardly acts like Tupac. So it goes both ways. So Luke 16:15, it says, and he said unto them, ye are they which justify yourselves before men. And that's what a lot of you people are doing. You're justifying yourselves before men. You want to be looked at and highly esteemed, before men. You want to be looked at, oh, wow, they're handsome. He's a handsome guy. She's a pretty woman. Look at that guy's wife, and which is really just that. And when you have that, a lot of those women, you might be married. All right, if you're married, you shouldn't have your face out there like that, unless like I said, if you have a business or something like that, we get it. But because you got to be the face of your company. But if you don't need to be just like me in my car, and you're just in your car, just taking a photo with you with your fucking Starbucks drink up in the camera for what? For what? What is that doing? All right? Especially if you're married. Okay? That's harlotry shit. Okay? So it's bad enough alone, yet alone if you're married. It says, but Yahweh knoweth your hearts, for that which is highly esteemed among men is abomination in the sight of Yahweh. Doing duck face and sitting there and Shalom Kwam Yasharallah. What's good, Israelite family? That type of stuff. Just look, man, it's theatrics. Don't do it. This is 1 Peter. I think this is one of the we're getting ready to close out. 1 Peter 3:3-4. And this is dealing with Israelite women. It says, whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair and of wearing of gold and of putting on of apparel, but let it be the hidden man of the heart in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which in the sight of Yahweh, which is in the sight of Yahweh of great price. So that's of great value. That's of great price. Not going and showing your adornments and your jewelry and your garment and your shoes and your hair and your makeup. That's just vanity. All right. That's not anything important. All right, that's not, and again, like it says, meek and quiet spirit, is a great price to the Lord. All right, roughly paraphrase, because it says, which is in the sight of Yahweh, great price, excuse me. So yeah, man, the Lord, this shows you, the Lord values meekness and quietness over, look. Okay, and there's a lot of Bible scriptures that condemn look. For example, it talks about the rich men that wear gay apparel and that they're going to be put in a good place, while someone doesn't have good apparel. They say, "You sit under my footstool." Right? They're going to give him a bad place because he looks some type of way. This truth is not about how you look, man. It's about how you are. It's about how you move, not about how you look. Okay, it's not about how you look. Right? Just because you don't and you don't need to be insecure, you brothers or sisters, right? Because hell, I'm missing a good ass chunk of my teeth. That doesn't interfere with the ministry at all, right? That doesn't interfere with my ability to teach and preach the word of Yahweh Shemel Shai. All right, I'm not so worried about. Some people say, "Oh, well, doesn't that get to you?" Not really. If people look at me and they say, "Oh, you're missing all a damn good chunk of your front teeth," yeah, and what? I'm still teaching and preaching the word of Yahweh Shemel Shai. I can still form words. That's it. I don't need to be looked upon as the most handsome or attractive man that ever existed, or, "Oh, you're so handsome." No. Now's not the time and place to be ogled with, man. I'd rather have someone consider me a man of understanding than a man of great look. All right, that's how I'd rather be someone say, oh, you're you know the scriptures very well. You can navigate your way. The Lord must be dealing with you. I'd rather hear that than, "Oh, you're a very attractive man." All right, and I'm not the most attractive guy. I'm not the ugliest bastard in the world either. Right? I don't really care about my looks. I'm just a plain looking guy as far as I go, and I really don't care about them at the end of the day, because I'm not here to serve my own vanity. All right, and look. Which I, again, really don't, when I go outside, I like to look nice. I like to smell nice, spray a little bit of cologne on, dress up nice and shit like that. But, have my outfit looking better than I look, right? At the end of that, fix my hair so I don't look like a bum or whatever. But I'm not, make sure my skin's taken care of, some lotion on the face and shit, making sure you don't have no fucking crusties all up in your eyes, a booger hanging out your nose, just basic, hygiene, of course. But we like to dress up. We like to wear nice clothes. And I don't mean anything extravagant. Just like a little bit of something nice. A little standard. Something casual, street casual. A little bit of cologne, and maybe some nice shoes sometimes and whatnot. But that's it. And that's not something. We don't go out the house thinking, this is gonna be what delivers me. This is what's gonna be that helps me. Okay, or this is what's gonna, it's nothing. It's frivolous at the end of the day. And if we get complimented on a cologne or a shirt or something, of course we're gonna be like, "Oh, thank you, appreciate it, thanks." But that's not, we don't live for the compliments of anybody else. I'd rather be complimented and say, "Yeah, you really know your way around the scriptures." All right, that's a higher compliment to me. Or I say, "You know what, man? You have a good spirit on you." That's a better compliment to me than saying, "Oh, you have, a nice jawline. Thanks. You too." I don't know what to do with that, but all right, cool. And, I'd rather much, "Oh, wow, that brother, he's, he has a deep understanding and knowledge of the scriptures," right? Well, I'm not the deepest most knowledgeable on the scriptures, but something like that, I would be like, "Oh, I would take it. Wouldn't let it get to my head, Lord willing." I'd be like, "Oh, I still have improvement to grow, but I appreciate that. That you see that knows that I'm doing something right, all right? Because, oh, I like your hair. Cool. Thanks. I grew it myself through the spirit power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. No reason to be proud about it, and really that vanity's for these women. They shouldn't be doing it either, but A vain man is just ridiculous. All right? A vain man is just ridiculous. No, it's ridiculous when a woman does it. It's especially ridiculous when a man, my shoes. I had to catch myself on that a couple times, man. Because, you get Yeezys or Jordans sometimes, and they get a stain on them. You damn near fucking flip shit. Now, I don't want them to get ruined, but I'm like, well, at the end of the day, they're shoes. So, but, they're not going to save me or anything like that. So, it's no use freaking out about, a scuff. As much as it hurts your soul to see that scuff land, what are you going to do? All right? That's not your salvation. So, the Lord's not going to pass you by because, here it is. He saw this other guy, but he saw you had a scuff on your shoe. And now, the Lord's not dealing with you because you weren't an attractive enough man. He's not looking on appearance. Okay? He's looking on the heart. Okay? So, Proverbs 31 and 30. Before I do that, let me go and see if I can do Hebrew fringes dog. Someone did it on their dog, man. I should have typed in Israelite. This was a video a long time ago. But yeah, someone did someone put fringes on their dog, man. It was a couple years ago. Let me see if I can find the car. I can't find it, but I shit ye not, brethren. Just as the fringes that you see on this garment here, right? He had those all around. Come on now. He had that all around the side skirt, man. And I think even on the bumper and front bumper. But he had it all on the side skirt. All this black trim right here. It had fringes on it, man. I can't remember what it was like. Look, I don't remember what it was. Maybe a little Corolla or something like that. It was completely ridiculous is what it was. But yeah, man. Fringes on the dog. Fringes on the car. Crazy. Right? They weren't even bound under the law. A dog's not in the law. Neither is a car. Why do they need to wear the fringes? Right? And again, you don't need to wear fringes at all given hours of the day. We know, all right, something that's given to us, it's a reference to Yahweh Shemi Shai. It's something that, we should do. But again, all things are lawful to me, but not all things are expedient. You're going to go, like I said, I worked at a GameStop, had a guy come in with fringes, gave away his whole business. I'll give that guy the benefit of the doubt because as I've looked over the couple of years, the way he reacted, I think maybe he just forgot to take it off. Right? Maybe he just forgot to take it off. Forgot to take he was probably sitting in the car after camp, forgot to take it off. That's what I could think. I'll give the guy a break. But, I've seen other guys wearing T-shirt fringes in the store, man. What are you doing, Jake? What are we doing? So Proverbs 31:30, and then we'll close out. It says, favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. And if you want bonus homework, you can keep on reading on down if you want. You can really go read up a little bit, too, if you want some. And you can do it with the scripture we got before this. I can't remember what it was. Memory is a hell of a thing. But, if you read up and down on that one, you can get a lot of edification as well. And, it's not just about the women. It's about the men as well. But I see it most prominent with the women. We saw a lot of women in those dressing up and doing their little, fashionista type shit. So, this truth's not a fashion show. All right? It's not for fashionistas or divas. This truth is for sincere believers of the Yahweh Shemi Shai that are coming to either as men teach and preach the word of Yahweh Shemi Shai and be subject under Yahweh Shemi Shai and learning as a student, as a scholarly individual, or as a woman, as one who is being a scholarly individual to the best of her ability and serving Yahweh Shemi Shai and serving her man as well as a woman rightly should. That's what this truth's about, all right? Doing the work in the will of the Father and, the Son. Not dress-up parties. That's just not it. So that's where we're going to close out. The Lord was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak. Shalom, brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Till next one, Lord willing. Shalom.